Hello, Andreas.
Hi, Anthony. Nice to be here.
Andreas, please tell our viewers where are you located right now?
I'm in Saarbrücken. This is in the very southwest of Germany, next to the Luxembourg and French border. So I drive about 1 hour to Luxembourg and 1 hour to Frankfurt. So if you imagine a line between these cities, it's exactly in the center.
Okay, great. And just to let everybody know, I'm based here in the UK. And today we're going to talk about your particular crowdfunding project. And by talking about it, I'm hoping that you're going to share a lot of those golden nuggets that people are wanting to find out in order to assist them to run their own crowdfunding campaigns. So I have a list of questions here, and by way of introduction, just to say to everybody there that we met some years ago
Yes.
in the UK, and you run an award-winning news service in Germany, and you've recently conducted a crowdfunding campaign. And so my first question to you is, how did you come across the concept of crowdfunding?
Well, actually, because of you. I mean, I've heard about crowdfunding, but I think it's reasonable to say that I'm a very conservative web user. You know this better than anyone. But of course, I was aware and I knew about the concept, but I never thought about it to using it for myself, even if there was, of course, relatively good need for it. Then we met and we talked about other things, and of course we finally came up talking about my news website, and that I was looking, of course, for ways to monetize it or to make some money with it, beside the fact that it is already advertised, that it pays in with advertisement on the website itself. And yeah, I never thought I had some donation buttons, and I tried that because my service in general is fully for free for everybody. So of course I'm always looking for ways of getting some money back.
Well, crowdfunding is pretty universal, so it's nice to see that crowdfunding can be done from anywhere in the world. And you did it from Germany, and you have this news website, and I suppose a lot of news websites are struggling to find different ways to source income. And so crowdfunding was a potential way for you to reach out to your readers and engage them in another way. And so we discussed crowdfunding, you thought of crowdfunding, and then eventually you decided to go ahead. What did you want to raise the money for?
Well, first I thought to raise the money just for my work in general. I had the idea of saying, okay, you know, I have quite a relative big amount of readers every day, and they do it for free, which I intend to continue also into the future. And many of my readers are happy with it, with the service and everything. And sorry. And so and they said, how can we support? And all these donation things were a bit, for some of them, hard to do or hard to imagine. And I said, you know, other people, they buy a daily newspaper or they buy cigarettes, so on a daily basis, and they pay quite a little amount of it. And I thought, okay, I have so many readers. If everybody of them would find a way to give a little bit or even more back to it, that would be a great idea. But then I talked with you and I talked with others, also from this crowdfunding website that I finally worked with, and they said that I should think about connecting it to a certain project of my website. And the website was running for several years on Blogpost, which is a free blog platform that you can use for free, but it limits yourself quite a lot. And I decided to go for a new independent and website on my own. And yeah, you were a big help with that. And
well, great. Crowdfunding differs from country to country. The different rules, or should I say regulations, in place. you opted ultimately for a rewards-based crowdfunding platform. And when you did research in Germany, what did you find?
Well, of course, in Germany, we have German versions of the big crowdfunding platforms, Crowdster, or the other Indiegogo, and so. But we also have especially German language crowdfunding websites. And I realized that this was quite important because I think there's one international crowdfunding site that calls its rewards perks, I think. And here I have also many older readers, and I was sure they would not know what a perk is, especially because it is, I don't know if it is even a real word in English, but here in German, it's definitely no word.
It is a real word in English, yes.
Okay. So, but here, if you say to somebody, okay, give me something and you get a perk for it, no one would have realized that. So I was looking for a German language-based platform, so everything would be easy to understand, because I realized the people are so fast off again as soon as they don't understand something about it. And that was actually the reason for me to decide to go with Vision Bakery. I don't know if they are .com or
they are. I was having a look again. I think you can find it under .de and .com.
Right.
You found Vision Bakery, but Vision Bakery was a rewards-based crowdfunding platform. And did you ever consider, say, another type of crowdfunding like equity or?
Actually, not. I thought this is a nice idea, because I also had already only heard about a reward-based crowdfunding campaigns, and I thought it would be very nice. And I had some ideas for some rewards, and I love the idea of giving directly something back.
And what did you like about Vision Bakery as opposed to any others? Because I'm sure that there's more than one rewards-based crowdfunding platform in Germany.
Yeah, there is, but to be honest, I was not investigating it too much. It's like it happens sometimes. You search for something, and then you look 1 or 2 or 3 up, and then you like the one better than the other, maybe just because of the design or whatever. Vision Bakery appealed to me, and and because everything was clearly structured and in an understandable language for everybody, and so I decided to go with them.
One of the most challenging things that crowdfunding, the crowdfunders or project creators find when it comes to setting up a crowdfunding campaign is to work out what your target should be. In other words, the target amount. In other words, how much you're going to ask people to support you with. So, how did you arrive at your target, and how challenging was that, or did you have a clear idea in mind as to what your target should be?
Well, yes, this was very challenging because, as said before, I already reached out to a relatively big crowd, I guess, or a potential of maximum crowd of maximum. Oh, sorry. So there are a lot of people that I reach out to.
Well, can you give us an idea of the size of your crowd? Because when it comes to working out the targets, size of your crowd matters. And
understand. Okay. Well, I have a Facebook fan crowd, so to say, of nearly 16,000. It's something like 15,000 something at the moment, 16,000. And with the other so-called social networks, it adds up to, let's say, 20,000. Then I have daily readers on my website. They are something between 100 and 200,000 visitors every month, who create about half up to 1 million page impressions every month. And so every day,
that's a lot.
And I have a newsletter service where the people sign up by themselves, and with this newsletter I reach out to about, I think it's now something like 13,000 people. So I think we can easily say that it reaches out to something between, at the minimum of 30,000. I can reach in the best way 30,000 people, the one or the other way, and even more. I mean, because my news items get spread all over the internet in the social networks that I do not oversee. So I think that was quite a large crowd already. And so it was hard for me to fix this target, because I really thought, okay, just think about, let's say, 10,000 people, and everybody would give $1 or so. That was a nice idea. And so I think in the beginning I thought about putting it up to 15,000. And then I talked with you, and
yes, I'm sorry. I always err on the more conservative side. So okay,
no, it was good. It was good.
You wanted 15,000. How much did you eventually ask for?
I think finally I asked for 5,000, which of course it is. I liked it as well to go lower. Finally. But compared to this huge number that I was just talking about, I felt, okay, maybe you get a bit more of it and things like that. And so I start dreaming,
Yeah, sure. But have you ever, had you ever tested your crowd before in terms of how much you think, firstly, the amount that you think that they might give, and or test them in any way in terms of how many you might give? In other words, had you sent out an email beforehand? Did you send out a survey, and so on?
Well, I did that in the one or the other way, but I think my experience is that here in Germany, especially the social networks are, they claim more than you finally get, or the interest is bigger than the people who pay in at the end. And so the feedback that I got from requests like you just described was 50-50, so it didn't really help me with the decision at the end. And I thought just starting it with this 5,000 is reasonable, and everything that comes in more, very nice.
Well, more did come in, didn't it? So how much did you raise in the end?
I think at the end I raised, I just checked it again. I think it was 8,500. So
and this is in euros. So you went.
That was in euros.
You were over your target by about 170% or so.
Yes.
Now, at what point did most of the money come in? So your campaign was a 30-day campaign. Did most of it come in the beginning or the end or in the middle, or how did it work for you?
Well, I think I reached the target in about 2/3 of the time. And interestingly, for me, that was already a question that I had in the beginning. I thought, okay, as soon as you reach the target, no one will pay in again, because as I said, I'm a conservative user. I would also think so that if I go to a crowdfunding platform and they already reached the target, I would think to myself, okay, nice for them. They did it. They don't need my money anymore. But what I did was I informed the people who were interested, who liked the project, and of course also those who paid in. I informed them on a regular basis about the state of the campaign and also about the milestones that I reached. And interestingly for me, I learned that this is more or less common, but the most money per day came in after I told them, okay, we reached the financing target.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah.
So I've been reading some reports recently, and the suggestion is that that a lot of campaigns, when they reach their target, that they don't really move necessarily beyond that. So I think your intuition is correct. That does tend to be the case. But you defied convention and went further, which was great.
Yeah, I think this is also an experience that I observed beforehand. When I gave out a milestone, that I reached a milestone, let's say about that I reached 1/3 or 2/3 of the target, that created again a kind of a momentum. And people started to, some of the donators already came back and gave a second time or something. So I guess it's
awesome.
like that the people like being part of something that works or that is successful. And
Correct. Now, when you looked at your strategy in terms of how you're going to get people involved and engaged in what you were doing, what strategy did you find worked best? Reaching out to creating a news article on your website, or email, or your Facebook group? Which ones of those worked best for you?
The best for me, and I realized this because I also observed it, was the email newsletters. When I send out the email newsletters to this group, and I told them again about the campaign and told them about milestones and things. Immediately after my system said, okay, now all newsletters have been sent out. Then there was an observable momentum in donations coming in. Interestingly, if you're, what I find is very interesting, this is what I said before, was that the Facebook community is, I have, as said, more than 15,000 followers at the moment, and 500 people liked the project on the site. I mean, the Facebook side of the crowdfunding campaign itself. And so 500 people did like it directly, but at the end, compared to these 500, only 300 paid in. And this is, I think, this says a lot about the momentum that you can create on Facebook and social networks.
Well, 300 out of the 500 actually made a contribution. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of the 500 likers, so to say.
Sure. Yeah,
and then again, of course, 300 out of 500 out of 15,000 that I would reach. I know you never reach these 15,000, but yeah.
Which brings me to another point. Facebook like you they like you to pay to play, as it were. So did you pay for any, did you boost any of your posts or create any ads on Facebook?
No, don't tell it Zuckerberg, but I didn't.
No. I won't tell him.
No, that was my experience, that this is, sometimes it works, sometimes not. But my site also doesn't have, so to say, this problem, because as said, I reach out to a maximum of likers of 15,000, and some of my items that I post about my news items reached out to nearly 15,000. So of course, I mean, you could have enhanced this by reaching out to their friends and other things, but I'm also covering a very special topic, with my news items.
Well, having brought it up, would you like to share what your topic is?
Well, my topic is a news site about, so to say, to make it short, about news on the paranormal. But I try to create serious news about all these items, which is sometimes not as easy, but there are these serious news. So, for example, I do not report about somebody telling me, "Oh, I saw a UFO." There needs to be something more and more distinct about it. I publish studies which are about UFOs or UFO sightings. I publish news when there is when a country, or let's say the Ministry of Defense in the UK, they published their UFO files that were secret for 50 years. They published them over the last 2 years and things like that. So this is what I write about. And so I have a big crowd of people following me, but when I ask them, why don't you share Gravy with your friends? They say, they're not interested in that stuff, or they don't take it serious, and I don't want to put myself into that position. So, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I was happy with all the feedback that I got. And I know that there are also many people out there who simply do not have the money or can support a project, even if they like it, and which is fine. I mean, this is also why I do Gravy completely for free,
I mean, some people like supporting you in other ways other than financial as well.
Yeah, and by sharing it or by liking, they share it with their timeline and everything. So
sure.
I don't know. You never know how that progresses and continues. You know.
So tell me, having a look at your rewards, and would you like to describe which rewards you had, and which was the most popular?
Well, I had the benefit that I have been doing stuff that created items ideal for rewards beforehand. For example, I study the crop circle phenomenon since many years, and I come to England since now, I think, 23 years every summer. So I had quite a large archive of aerial photos that I took on my own of very nice crop circles. And I put together a digital, so to say, a digital map of my best crop circle shots, and I gave them away for 10 euros.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who ordered that got an email from me with the images attached in a printable resolution, and they can do with it whatever they like. The other benefit that I had or have is that I'm a studied graphic designer. So I designed a set of postcards related to my website with motifs like UFOs, the Yeti, and crop circles. The one postcard featured a crop circle that looked like the logo of my website, and the other postcard featured. Those of you who are familiar with the TV show X-Files, there is this famous poster that sits in the office of Fox Mulder, where you see a UFO above a wood,
mm-hmm.
and it says, "I want to believe." And I exchanged this UFO with the logo of my website and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I could create stuff on my own, and these postcards were sent out for 15 euros. And they were sent out physically with a personal signed thank you something.
Fantastic.
And then I had I published books.
Yes, I noticed those were very popular. Your books.
Yeah. Because the books actually they are sold out on the physical bookmark. So, and you get them still via Amazon as used versions, but they became collector's items because the books, they're very nicely illustrated and I think very nicely done. They have good quality. And so you have to pay quite a lot for them, sometimes more than 150 euros or so. And so I created PDF files because I have the copyrights on these books now, as they are not available anymore. And I put them also up and as a digital version, as well as some books that I had left over in physical in the physical version. Yeah.
So those books were popular, if I recall.
Yes, the physical books were most popular. Mm-hmm. I also had a high how do you say that? I mean the most expensive the most expensive reward was that people would have a presentation like a crop circle lecture. Where they, if they would live in a circle of about 200 kilometers around me, and somebody actually ordered that.
Oh, fantastic! And have you?
Yeah, but Sorry.
Carry on.
It came even better. He never asked for this lecture.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay.
I think he just saw, okay, I want to give a big amount, and yeah.
Now, since you reached your target, it's often great to have a stretch target, if you like. And in order to do that, one of the ways is to help by creating more rewards. What new rewards did you add to the mix, as it were, once you'd reached your target?
I think. I don't know if I did that, to be honest. I think I added the PDF versions of the book.
Was that during the campaign or after you reached your target? I mean,
I think that was during the campaign. No, actually not. I had all of the rewards from the beginning on, and then I ran out of the number of the PDF versions of my book, and then I asked them if we because a PDF is a PDF, if we can make it bigger, and they said, "Oh, this is not a good idea because people do not, they saw that you had a limited amount of them available, and now you're adding up more. So we finally didn't change that.
Okay. Tell me, what lessons did you learn from your entire sort of crowdfunding experience? What do you feel that you could pass on to others, in terms of helping them with their crowdfunding campaigns?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that you should build up your crowd beforehand to as big as possible. I mean, I hadn't had that problem because I already had, as said, a quite big crowd. But I think there are numbers out. I don't know if I got this from you or so, which seem to be true, that you can monetize something like 1 to up to 3 or 4% of your crowd, and maybe not with crowdfunding, but of your crowd in the social networks. It certainly is true with Facebook, and I realized that it is sometimes, as I had this big crowd, I thought, wow, you will get rich with that. But so don't. What I mean is, that was just joking. What I mean was, don't expect too much in the beginning, and just be happy with what you get. And if you reach your target, it's great. And if you get more, perfect.
Can I jump in here and ask? Crowdfunding platforms have. When you set a target, they often, a lot of them will give you the option of either a fixed target, or in other words, if you don't reach a target, you don't get any money, or a flexible campaign. So in other words, if you don't reach your target, you still get the money. Which one did you opt for?
Well, mine was that I had to reach the target to get the money. And of course, that was when you ask for things that I learned, for me, the time until I reached the target was really horrible. I mean, I went every day on the website and checked it out, and I felt like, maybe I have to pay in at the end to get the money from it or so.
Push it over the edge, yes.
Yeah. And think, I mean, this is a reasonable idea, I guess, before you're not getting the money and lose the people who donated it. But also there, I would say, be easy until, let's say, 1 or 2 days or 3 days before it ends, and see simply what happens, and then you can do this anyway. But I guess it would have been emotionally more easy for me if I would not have had this fixed target that I had to reach.
Sure. Yeah. Now, to help you understand how your campaign is going, did you make use of any analytics? And if so, which programs did you use, or which figures did you find most useful? Facebook Insights or Google Analytics or something like that?
Well, not really. I mean, I did these analytics in a way by myself. When, as said, I sent out the email newsletter, and then I observed what happens immediately after they were sent out, or how is the reaction from the Facebook community on the one or the other thing. So that was for me more like, it may also be so because I'm not really a techie, that I simply may have not dived too much into all this possibility that analytics and programs like this offer. I'm sure that you can learn quite a lot about this, and people may learn it from you, but not from me, because I'm, as said, maybe I should go more into that.
In hindsight, now that the campaign's over and you've looked back on it and you've had time to digest it, what do you think you could have done better?
What could I have done better?
Or differently?
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy with the results. So that is it's hard to think about because I reached much over it.
Will you do another crowdfunding campaign, do you think, at some point in the future?
Yes, and I'm still clinging to the idea of putting it out just to give people the opportunity to support my work, as a kind of a free subscription, so to say, or not a voluntary subscription. I don't know if I have to work on this, if this is a good idea. And then, of course, if there will be a project that is bigger, I would definitely do it. And I also recommended it because at the end it was fun, you know. Also, this emotional stress was in a way fun, you know, because money came in. At the moment, I help and support a little bit with a crowdfunding campaign, which is pretty hard. They have a pretty hard topic, and there nothing happens for weeks. You know, they have quite a long day. I think they have 50 days or so, and that is boring in a way because it doesn't create momentum with that.
Have they reached 30% of their target yet?
Yes, they do.
They have. So there's a strong chance that they'll actually reach their full target if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm hoping, but I also realized that what is very hard, and maybe this comes back to the previous question, and I think it's quite an important point. Many people think that even if they have a big crowd in the social networks, or if they say, okay, just out of the blue, if they have a campaign about bicycles, and then they say, okay, now I create this campaign, and you know what I'm going to do is I write to all these groups and Facebook sites which are about bicycles, and ask them to put my project up there, and then it creates momentum. This is a nice idea, but my experience is it works with very few of them that you try to contact. Even if it is an open group, the moderators are very hesitant to post just on request.
Sure, developing a relationship with an influencer, like you suggest, takes time. So
so just writing and telling them. But you know, it's interesting that even this project that I just talked about, that I try to support with my know-how, is even a social project. You know, and I myself contacted some groups and Facebook sites and organizations which are directly related to the topic, and they don't do stuff. So what I mean is realize that the social networks are in many cases not as social as you think.
Okay.
So, which is a big problem anyway.
Sure. You spoke about subscriptions earlier on, and I don't know whether I've mentioned to you, but there is a subscription website that I suggest that you have a look at in the United States called Patreon, Patreon.
I heard about it.
And they work on a subscription basis. So in other words, they get people to support them on an ongoing monthly basis. And I don't know whether there's anything in Germany along the same lines, but that is something that you can look out for at any rate.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm sure that you would have a following that would actually buy into that, because they value the work that you do, and there's no reason why you shouldn't include that as part of your one of your income streams.
That sounds good. I think it is a country issue, and what I've learned from other crowdfunding campaigns is that here in Germany, the people, especially web users, they tend to like everything that is for free, and as soon as you ask for something, they don't like it anymore, and you are called things like, "Oh, you're just looking for money. Are you doing it just for the money or what?" And things like this tiring discussions, and so this is pretty common here in Germany, I guess, more than maybe in Anglo-Saxon American countries, maybe.
I don't think I'm in a position to say whether it is or isn't, but it is a point well taken. I wanted to thank you very much for sharing all your information. Is there anything else that you'd like to add with any of our listeners? Viewers?
As said, it was really fun. I really appreciated your support. I felt it was very helpful, and it was fun doing it, fun following the process of it, and with all emotional stress that later turned out to be nice. And you learned quite a lot about your crowd, about your activities, and if you reach the target and get the money finally, yeah, it's great. And if not, you had a good experience, and at least you didn't lose anything.
Well, no, I think that when it comes to crowdfunding, in my opinion, there's many takeaways other than the actual financial gain that you might get from a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is.
From my point of view, one of the biggest takeaways is market validation. So it's giving you an opportunity to test your market and how far you can go with them, and how many of them contributed, and at what level they contributed, and things like that. The other thing is, I'm sure that you got a bit of extra publicity out of it online, or greater brand awareness, if you like.
Yeah,
and also,
I think so too.
And by doing that, I'm sure that you've also increased the size of your crowd.
Hopefully, yeah.
You may not notice because you've got such large numbers, but I'm sure you did somewhere along the line.
Right.
There was
well, one little problem was that for whatever reason, and they later excused themselves and everything. They even my crowdfunding platform did not put my project on their Facebook website.
Oh no! So, did you tell them all?
And well, I told them, and I said, I mean, if you don't do it, I don't know who should.
Yeah, sure.
There is, but they said they excused, and
yeah,
it's okay.
There is one other question that I'd like to ask before we finish, and that is about rewards. Now, many crowdfunding campaigns, studies show that a lot of people, when they finish their crowdfunding campaign, have indicated that they'll actually deliver their rewards within a certain period of time, and they don't. There's a very high percentage of people that do not, or crowdfunding project creators behind crowdfunding campaigns. There's a very high percentage of those people who do not actually send out their rewards within the time frame that they promised. And was that a problem with you at all?
Well, I didn't say. I didn't put myself a limit, like a date limit or so, but I was pretty eager in sending it out as soon as the crowdfunding campaign ended. And so, of course, because some of the items I had to get produced, so I also put some money into this with the postcards, for example. But this is, online printing doesn't cost you anything anymore. So I had to wait for these postcards, and they didn't arrive. And so, but that was in a time frame that really didn't bother.
So the Vision Bakery didn't insist on you putting a time frame on each reward?
Not insisting, but they said, please.
Please do that, yeah. Okay. So you had a little hiccup with regards to the postcards, and that's just an indication that a lot of people do have hiccups when it comes to getting the product out the door, especially if it's a product. If it's a digital delivery, well, then it's then it can be a different matter.
But sometimes I feel people should be a bit more easy. For example, I supported the crowdfunding campaign of a kids theater that it's a social thing that takes place in Peru, and they offered little puppets that the kids created themselves. And of course it took quite long, And I already forgot about it because this was not the reason why I supported it, to get this little puppet. But I followed the project, and some people were really saying, "Hey, come on, I want to have this reward," which was ridiculous,
Yes, well,
not the reward. The reward was nice. But
you actually bring up an important point, because one of the things that a project creator needs to do is to manage that kind of situation, and you get all sorts of people who will come back with all sorts of different reactions, and that's part of one of the challenges of running a crowdfunding campaign, because you now end up having a relationship with all of those people, and you need to manage that, and it's quite crucial as to how that's done, because you don't want people getting angry, because this spills out online and it becomes more difficult for you to manage.
It is, but some people get angry anyway,
Sure.
As said, as soon as you start a crowdfunding campaign, I got complaints saying, "Oh, don't you have already enough?" and things like that. Or,
well, the money that
why don't you build your website with free online tools and everything? It's these ideas that which are unprofessional but just seem to fit to them and not to me, and things like that.
Sure.
Or you shouldn't do it if you don't have the money for it. And I said, well,
the money you raised went towards creating a new website, and your new website looks wonderful. So I think that was brilliant. So in other words, it's a better end user experience. So I'm sure your your users are very happy with that. And then I believe that some of the money went towards creating a mobile app as well. So
Yes.
I've seen that. It's up in the Apple app and the Google Play Store, and I'm sure you're picking up a lot of new downloads and
Yes.
reaching out to those people within your community who actually consume information on mobile devices. So I think
Exactly. So it was worth doing it. I mean, no question. But as said, I mean, the question or the topic was that you will always find people who don't like what you do for whatever reason, and don't give whatever.
True. Anyway, well, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I really do appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
And I hope that those people are going to watch, those people watching now and those people are going to watch the replay will learn from some of your experiences. And if I may ask, how can people reach out to you or find you? What's the best place online for them to contact you if they want to get hold of you?
I guess, well, the problem is that my website is German, in German only.
Sure.
And so they can go to the website, and there's even a short URL, which is grewi.de. So grewi.de.
Fantastic.
And yeah.
Fantastic. And then I see you've got all the social media icons there so that they can follow you from your website as well. So that's brilliant. Yeah. Well, Andreas, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time this afternoon, and
it was a pleasure.
I look forward to working with you on whatever you feel is important at any point in the future. So well done on your crowdfunding campaign, and
thanks,
and for sharing your thoughts. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.